Okay, so I didn't hear from anyone, so now I hope everyone is able to hear it. Okay, so I mean, if you cannot hear properly, you can request your respective HR manager. Okay, that is the good way to reach out. Okay, but there were some issues in the past, and people reached out to their respective manager, so that thing got fixed. After that, I didn't get any issues later. So yeah, if you have any questions, the proper way is to reach out to your respective HR manager. Okay. Uh, if you are saying to me, I cannot do much about it because it has to go to the administrator and it has to get fixed. Okay. So okay, so let's see. I hope a few people got syllabus. Okay, I have only 3 people. So people who don't have email ID, I don't have all of the email ID. So after the class, send me your email ID through email. Okay, not don't ping in the chat here. Okay, don't just ping in the chat. Send me your email to at manu@itamerica.com. Okay, so that I'll add your email ID in the list so that I'll be sending you homework and recordings. Okay, so let's go through pretty quick the syllabus. The syllabus what I'll be covering is on QA perspective. So we'll talk about various types of testing. Okay, this is not yet. I mean, this is not just these many testing are pretty lot. But to start with, this should be a good thing to start. Okay, various types of testing. So today and tomorrow we'll continue with the introduction on various testing and why do we need this. Okay, tomorrow is important class. Make sure you don't miss tomorrow's class because tomorrow I'll be showing how to open a defect, how to um, how to actually open issues and how to how to find a defect. First and most important thing is your job as a QA or as a software tester or as an ETL tester or as a matter of fact, even if you take it as developer, you have to make sure the system is right. Okay, so you want to open issues as much as possible because when I used to work, even developer used to open it, issues, but that's not good. That reflects, uh, on QA part, that QA is not doing good. Okay, so make sure you attend tomorrow's class. Okay, so various types of testing, and so we'll take some functional testing and see how to open a defect. And third and fourth class, we'll be using tool, this test management tool. Make sure you understand it's a test management tool, not it's not like this is not something different. This is like test management tool means where you have to write your test cases, you have to execute your test cases, you have to report defects, open the defects and report to the respective developer or the concerned person. All this we'll be doing in this tool called Rally. Okay, Rally is for Agile. Okay, and there are so many tools, not just Rally. You have HPALM, ClearQuest, from IBM, and Team Foundation Server. We'll talk about Team Foundation Server at the end of the class. And Jira, there's a Jira tool. So a pretty lot of tools. Those are called test management tools. That is only one tool as a QA perspective we will be using it. Okay, other than that, everything will be manual. Okay, so you want to understand what all those contain. So that's about Rally. SharePoint. So we'll discuss SharePoint a little later. Because when we discuss about Jira, that's one more test management tool. So that is integrated with this called Confluence. Okay, so we'll see how to upload a document, how to, as a QA perspective, you may not be always using SharePoint, but of course, for downloading the documents like BRD, FRD, and all those, you want to use this. So that is important. Next to various documents. You want to make sure you understand all the documents. It's not necessary that you may or you may not use at your project, but this is an important thing. This is like very stepping stone of whenever you join a project, you have to refer documents. Without documents, you are not going anywhere. Okay, because you won't understand the project if you are not referring to the document. The documents is very important. So we'll go through these documents. Next, we'll go to this SDLC. That is software development lifecycle. I mean, this is not a software. This is not a tool. No, somebody said me to the previous class saying that, hey, give me access to SDLC. So it's not a tool. It's a framework. Okay, so we'll talk about this in detail. It's a framework. That means it is designed by management perspective. So management actually works on that. But if you are in the system, so when you are in the system, you have to know this. Okay, so this is more of a theoretical point of view. Okay, and this is not something tool to give access. This is something which it's a theoretical point of view, and practical it's completely different. It changes a lot in the practical, but now we'll see about this one. So it's SDLC, then we'll have STLC, that is software testing lifecycle. So it's like SDLC is development lifecycle, testing lifecycle. And then we have bug lifecycle. Okay, that can also be called as defect lifecycle. And then we'll go through this agile methodology. Okay, so because agile is moving forward, day by day, waterfall, we also discuss about waterfall. We'll discuss in this, but agile is people are adapting to the agile methodology more. Okay, so we'll go through this. So I'll take whole class for this agile and see how we can do that. Okay, and then we'll talk about one more tool, that is Jira. It's also a test management tool, so we'll look into it, okay, and see if we can, so I'll not be giving homeworks on this, so just you get an access to this tool. So once you get an access, you can start working on it and try to see if you can do it well. Okay, then you have HPL. Okay, I'll be giving you introduction on this. So for access, you need to check with Tagore. Okay, he will be giving you access for this one. Okay, not me. But for Rally Jira, I'll be giving you access, so you can make use of that. Okay, this one you have to refer to Tagore. Okay, and this is a pretty old tool. You just don't want to go in detail with this one. If you know, that's good. You don't want to go in depth in HPLM because this gets really slowly outdated, divided, because this tool is pretty, long back. I used to use as I didn't even use as test director, but I used as quality center. That is way long, 2009, 2008. It's almost 10 years back. Okay, so that's HPLM. So then we'll talk about QTP. This is regression testing. So we'll talk about this introduction. Okay, just an introduction. I'll just touch base on the codings and see if you have any interest on that. Otherwise, you can just see why this is important is because you are a tester. So if you are a tester, you'll not just do one thing, right? You'll be doing multiple things. So they will also be expecting you or from you that you also have to know other tools. In that case, so although I don't have access for this tool, but instead I can give you Selenium. So we'll see, how can we work on that Selenium. Maybe it's not ready because Firefox has got updated to Quantum, right? So that's the reason, but we'll see, we have the ways to work it out. So we can see on this, how can we get access to this. So QTP is Quick Test Professional. Now, no, there's no more QTP, there's UFT. Unified Functional Testing. So it's similar with other features and a lot of things. So, but the base remains same. Okay, you have to do. You don't have to do coding. There's if you say like QTP developer, you'll be only QTP tester. So in that case, it's just a introduction point of view. And then last class we'll talk about various certification. Although I'll be giving you homework on this beforehand because we have less time. By 22nd we have to complete. So most probably by this week I'll be giving you access so that homework so that you can able to complete this. But people who were not able to do it, so they can have they will have some time to get more information and you can do it. Any questions so far? So this is about syllabus. So this so far we were talking about the syllabus, about various, what we are going to do, and everyone will have access to this. Even so actually I send an email. So whoever didn't get an email by you can email me. Okay. So I'll send you this syllabus and as well as the documents. Any questions so far? Okay, so no questions. So we'll just move forward with various types of testing. Okay, so we'll just go here. Okay, let's get some introduction on various. Few people have already know it. That's fine. Few people have different backgrounds, so for them they'll be knowing a lot of things here. Okay, so either way, you can just have a little bit understanding on all these various types of testing. Okay, so let's start with black box testing. Okay, there's something called black box testing. So this is this is high level testing. Okay, it's a high level testing. It's done by the testers and not by the programmers. Okay, and it is based on requirements and functionality. Okay, so this is based on requirements and functionality. So you have the requirement, you see, based on that, and this is a high level testing. So let's take an example here. So let's say your boss, your boss comes and stops to you and say, hey, have you completed your black box testing? Okay, now that's a very good question. Your boss always tries to test you, and you have to always come. You have to come always in flying colors, because your boss will always try to see you that you give a wrong answer. Okay, so when your boss says, "Have you completed your black box testing?" then you have to respond that black box testing is a high level testing, and the meaning of high level testing means that it's done in a team level, not an individual level. Okay, that's the whole point of high level mean, right? That means team. Like there's a QA lead, and QA lead. If that question was asked to QA lead, that would be a more appropriate, because QA lead will be answering, yeah, we have completed black box testing, or we are in the part of black box testing. Why? Because black box testing has various submodules, right? For example, functional testing, it is included in the black box testing. Okay, functional testing, end-to-end testing. Okay, if you have the system testing, all these included called black box testing. Okay, so that's what black box testing is all about. Okay, it's a high-level testing. Okay, done by the testers and not by the programmers. And remember, there is a term called high level. That means it's done in a team level, not an individual. Okay, now you cannot just randomly ask some individual guy and say, "Have we completed this?" That's not really appropriate. Okay, but obviously those questions will be there. So make sure you have to be well prepared to answer these questions. Okay, your boss will always try to ask this kind of questions. They want to know you know or not, right? Because they are looking for someone who is really know things, right? So that's what the black box testing is about. Okay, and let's go a little bit on requirements and functionality. Okay, so requirements, again, requirements, you have documents, you can refer documents. Sometimes it's not always documents, sometimes business analyst does say in the word to mouth, that said, no, this is not, don't refer the document, just look into this should be like this, and I'll send you an email based on that. So on that, the requirements, you can take it as a requirement. And functionality is something which is, functionality is, let's take an example here. Okay, so we'll just go better on this example. So let's take Google.com. Okay, now here, even if you have to take a functionality, anything what is there in the web page is a functionality. Okay, technically everything what is there on the web page is functionality. Okay, now this button about, it's a functionality. What happens if I click this? It moves to the next page. Okay, that's great. Now this button, I mean this is URL. You can see this URL down here. Yeah, just change this, right? So all this image, this image. Okay, that's a functionality. This edit bar. Okay, this is the functionality, and all these URLs. All this is a functionality. Okay, any module which contains features, functionality of features, edit bar, text, or images, drop down box, all these is a part of the functionality. So that's called functionality. Okay, it don't have to be a web application. It can be a client application. Okay, so that's called functionality. Okay, so that's about. So we'll go in detail with this functionality, and we'll have some questions. Let's see, people. Okay, so so that's a functionality. Okay, anything which is on the web page. Let's take an example. We took an example here on the Google. This web page, anything which shows up here is a kind of functionality. Okay, as a matter of fact, anything what you do, in the system or in the web application or client application, you click these buttons. You do those are all functionalities. Okay, that means you're doing something to get something, right? So that's a black box testing. Any questions so far in black box? So black box testing is a high level testing done by the testers. Okay, and it's based on requirements and functionality. See this? It's based on the requirements and functionality, and it's high level. Again, you have to understand this. High level means your boss stops at your desk and say, "Hey, did you complete your black box testing?" You have to respond it appropriately. And now you cannot say, "I don't know, I don't think." You cannot say such kind of answers, right? You have to be very professional on saying the answers, and you have to make sure you are answering the right question. Okay, so that's a black box testing.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, you said functionality testing. We can say it front-end testing?
Yeah, that is more generic term. Yes, you can say. That is generic. That means a lot of more, not even functionalities, you might be having different others. So yes, the generic term, and you can say front-end testing. Yeah.
Front-end. Yeah, thank you.
Front-end testing and back-end testing. So there are two things, right? Back-end testing is normally databases. Okay, the back-end testing is related to databases, data analysis. You know, back-end you all do with data. Front-end, what you do is completely functionalities. Okay, is that moving? Is that image is working? Is the image is there? Is this OK button is working? Is this field value correct? And all those things comes under functionality. So that is called front-end.
Okay, so we can say that the front-end testing comes under the black box testing?
Yeah, you can see. I mean, I would not say that, but yeah, in a generic level, yeah, you can say that. But it's not really like to put that front end testing comes under black box testing, because front end has more other features than black box. Okay, we don't know, so I don't want to say that front end comes into the black box. The black box contains few things like system testing, integration testing, functional testing, okay, and few of them also. So that constitutes a black box. But front end is completely different thing altogether, okay. So
yeah, thank you.
I mean, I would not say that one because the front end is generic term altogether. It's not relating to any specific thing.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, so let's move to the next one. So white box testing. So this is completely opposite to black box, not just black or white. It's like white box is actually done by the programmers and not by the testers. Okay, so and why it's programmers? Because internal logic of an application code has to be known. Okay, so let's see what exactly this code is all about. So when I have to see, let's see, even if it's google.com. So this is my code. Okay, this is my code. Yeah, and I have warning that, but so we don't care. So, but still, application is good. Okay, good. So if I look at this, so this is this is all the code is all about. Okay, so this is what developers do. Now, if you're a Java developer, you look into some Java specific, and if you're web developer, you'll be looking into this web page and how it's going. And if you are, Ajax, then Ajax will be, and this is the CSS. Um, so all these things, right, is done in the white box testing. All this testing is done because we don't know code, right? We have no idea on this. What is this all about and what it does, right? So that's the reason that's called white box testing. Okay, and again, white box testing is a high level testing. That means you cannot catch some random developer and say, hey, did you complete your white box testing? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, this is a high level testing done at the team level. If the lead is there, let's say the dev lead or development lead, if you ask that guy and say, so he will be saying something, yeah, we are working on that, we have completed it because there's unit testing that is remaining and system testing, so we have to complete because it constitutes more than 2 to 3 testing. That's why it's called white box testing. It's high level testing. Okay, but this is done by the developers.
For my understanding, I understand that this is also high-end testing done by the team of the management, but the black box is only done by the single person. Is that right?
I mean, okay, so here's the thing, right? It's actually, if you are going into more specific, then it will be more into project. Okay, so okay, you can take that black box testing. If you want to take it as individual, that's fine. But normally it's not individual level because it constitutes more than one testing. But yeah, if you are talking some specific project, when you are working on the client and you got some specific project, which is a typical project, which black box testing has to be done by the individual, then that's fine. That's okay. Then that can be done. But other than that, in general, I would not call black box testing individual. Okay. Few of the projects, yeah, we can exempt few of the projects. Those also might contain this individual level. That's fine. And white box testing, as you said, management perspective. Again, that depends on the projects, because management normally assigns this. That means, yeah, they say, okay, white box testing have to be done. This is, but they will not be going into specifics. Okay, they're just they'll be in general. So they'll say, yes, this should be done, and that's it. But if you are going into in specifics, then the lead people have to be responsible on this. Does it make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so I would not say no, because it really depends on project and on a lot of projects. So yeah, it might be individual level too. That's fine. It's based on project, but in general, it has to be high level. Okay. Any more questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, so let's move to the next one. Quick. So unit testing. So unit testing is done by the developers. Okay. So let's see here. Testing individual software for components or modules. Typically done by the programmers and not by the testers. Okay. Testers will not be doing this because, so let's take an example, because it requires a detailed knowledge of internal program design. So here we can see here the code. So this is the code. Okay. And unit testing means any unit, let's say any specific part, some unit of this. So this is called unit testing. That means they'll look into this code and some particular unit. They will not see, there's a lot of things here, right? A lot of so many things, but they will be just looking into some specific and see this code. Okay, so that's called unit testing. The name itself, unit, that means single. That's one unit of a particular module. So this is the module, and this is what they'll be looking at. Okay, so that's called unit testing. Okay, testing an individual component or module is called unit testing, and it's done by the programmers and not by the testers, because you have to know the detailed knowledge of an internal program design. For example, this one, you have to know what is this doing. You know, to just show this web page, you have this pretty long code. Okay, just to display something. This is just a google.com, right? This is a simple one page, but if you see the code, I mean, this is pretty, this is not simple code, right? There's so many people might have working just on simple one code, one page. Okay, so you see this, there's a lot of things and URLs integrated, there's a lot of things in this. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So before going to incremental, we just talk about, okay, so we'll talk about this functional testing. So this is very important. So what is a functional testing? Okay, functional testing is to test any functionality of an application. Functionality or features of an application is called functional testing. And what is a functionality? It can be anything from edit box, text box, field value, static text, random rolling down buttons, drop down box, drop down buttons. All of these examples of functional testing. So let's go here. So as I told you, right, so this can be an example for functional testing. Okay, so these buttons, this is kind of random button, right? You see this, sometimes it comes pretty random. Okay, even that is functional testing. And this button, okay, this doesn't work because you didn't put anything here. If you put and click here, this might work, but normally you don't even require this button these days. You just start typing, Google will show you, all the information. Okay, these buttons, these are not buttons, this is text with the integrated URLs. Okay, then you click on this and this one. Okay, so all this is functionality. So let's go a little bit more complex website, just like Amazon.com. Let's go to Amazon.com pretty quick and see what is the functionalities. Now Amazon.com is much more complex than just Google.com. Okay, this is why? Because it has so many features, and you know what? It has features. These images, you see these images. These are integrated with URLs. What do I mean with that? That means if I click this, it's going to a different page. You see this? Hold together different page and it's showing up these options. Okay, so that's the complexity of this functionalities. These are all integrated with images. Okay, it's just not an image, but then when you click on this, it goes to the right into the page and shows you, about this. So this is a little bit, and it has so many features on just one page. Okay. So all these are buttons. Okay, so all these not buttons, images. If I click on this, let's see. Okay, this is going good. Okay, so all this actually is clickable. Okay, whenever you click in this, all these are clickable. So let me ask you this question. So if I hover my mouse, let's say I hover my mouse, okay, over this department section. Okay, so see this, I hope everyone is looking at this. I'm hovering my mouse, I'm not even clicking. This option don't have this clicking option. You don't even have to click any button here. Just I'm hovering my mouse over this department and something is happening. Can anyone tell me what's happening? What are the features you can see here?
The drop down box is opening.
Okay, the drop down, one thing, that's good. Next, anything else? Okay, good, drop down box, you're getting drop down box, that's a feature, that's good.
Classification of products.
That's a very good thing. Maybe you want to, yeah, if you have requirement documents, you have to look on this, that's good. You have to require this, all these products are there based on the requirements. That's a good point. Anything else? I'm looking very specific and very, different feature which you might not have caught on this, but I'll be looking into that. That's good. Two points. One is drop-down box is showing up as per the requirements, and the classification of the products. That's good. These are the products, and you have to look into the requirements, seeing that these products are there or not. You have to be very careful on that. If any product is missing, you need to request developer and add the product. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, so if
Thank you.
okay, so what I also see is there's a lot of things happening when you hover your mouse. I also see the brightness of that screen, the background is it's dim. You see this? If I hover my mouse over the department, the brightness of the screen, the background, it's got dim, right? It's really switched off. So the brightness is off. So that is also a feature. Okay, you might not notice it, you might not even care it, but that might be there in the requirement, or that might also be obviously that can be a requirement, but it's not always necessary they document it. But if there's no documentation, you have to ask a question saying that is this a really intended feature or it's a bug. Does it make sense? The brightness of the screen at the background is dimmed. That's also a feature, right?
Yep.
Okay. So this kind of functionalities and features to test those is called functional testing. Okay, that's what it's called by functional testing. So we'll go. Tomorrow we'll talk about this, how to open defects, because as a tester I'll be looking defects in almost everything, right? I'm a QA tester. As this present, at this time, even I can look at defects in the Google. So let's see here, if there is any defects. Let's see if they fixed it. I actually, recently opened a defect. I didn't open it. I just requested. Let's say I want to do, I'm minimizing it, right? Now, when I minimize these options, you see this. These are gone. But if I slowly, now this option is showing up. See? So now if I have to work something which I have to keep here and I want to navigate it, there's no option for me, right? Now that's a defect. Okay, again, you have to, I cannot say this is a defect. It might not be intended feature. You have to refer documents for that. But, I'll be, as a customer point of view, I'll be taking it as a defect because I'm minimizing the screen and I'm using MS Word to type this, so I want to minimize it. Meanwhile, I want to navigate to images section. Image, there's no image. Only if I have to maximize it, then only I get this option. Okay. And you know what? As a notice, if you notice, all these options are showing up here: advertising, business, and then why not these options, right? So that can be a bug. So these kind of things, you have to make sure. So these comes under functional testing. Okay. So that was just an example to show you that every application has bug. You just need to find out. Okay, that's it. That's your job is. Okay, as a QA tester, that's what you have to do. Okay. So functional testing is to test all the functionality and features of an application. Okay, it can be a client application or web application. Web application, whichever you access to browser, let's say Chrome browser. I'm using this Chrome browser. It's called web application. And client application is something which is installed in your system. Right? Previously there used to be Google Talk, right? The Google Talk, when you click on that one, that's called client application. Why? Because you have to install in your system and use it. So that's called client application. And client application have less bugs than web application. Web application have plenty of bugs. Okay. Client application don't have that many because it's fixed. They don't change it every time, but these days even client applications are being changed. So you might also find bugs, but web application has plenty of bugs. Okay. So any questions in functional testing? Okay, so let's move to integration testing. Okay, so let's go to the integration testing. So to test an integrated modules to verify combined functionality after integration. Okay, so here let's say, let's go back to google.com. Okay, now as you see, this web page is not designed by one guy. Okay, even if the one guy works on this, that's good. But there's other so many features, right? Of Google, like YouTube, Mail, Gmail, okay, and news, a lot of things. This Google has a lot of things. So they want to integrate everything into one. That means how can you integrate in Google.com just in one page? Okay, you cannot clog a lot of information putting all this in the web page. This is not intended to use this, but they want to make sure that you can use many of their services. Okay, now let's say they have integrated, let's click on this Google Apps. If I click on this, you see this, all the products. So all this, and not one guy has done this, so many developers, so many people will be working on it and put all this into one place. It can be also third-party application. Okay, and after integrating all these modules, let's say YouTube is a different world altogether, right? Once they have developed the application, they have done, and just you need to integrate that particular module here, and just whenever you click on this, it goes to that website. Okay, and shopping. Now again, shopping is a different. Second, Gmail is a subdomain. If you see here, mail.google.com, and that means it's a subdomain of this google.com. Okay. That means it's a part of the Google. But YouTube was a separate domain, so that's a separate domain means it's a different URL. Okay, so all these features, all this is integrated into one. Okay, it's called integration, and to test that is called integration testing. Okay, so as a testing, you might not just see, it might be simple. Okay, this is integrated. You have to also click on this button. Is it navigating to the other web page or not? Okay, because the problem with integration is when you're integrating two applications, you have to make sure because of that the code is not broken. Okay, all the websites are working properly even after integrating. Is it working or not? Okay, so that's the main theme of integration testing. Okay, so let's go back here. What is integration testing? Testing of integrated modules to verify combined functionality after integration. That means after integration, is that applications are working or not? Okay. Okay, so that's called integration testing. Okay, normally testers can do this. Testers are sometimes developers. So developers do a different SIT. They do SIT, system integration testing. Okay, they do most of the time, but as a tester or developer, anyone can do this. Okay, based on the project. How the project is, and based on that you can do. Okay, let's go to the next one. So there's incremental integration testing. Okay, so as the name itself, right? Incremental. That means it keep on increasing. So let's go back here. If you see here, here 11, right? 11 apps. So 11 apps are integrated here. Okay, if I want more, I can click on more, and you see this. I have again more. So this is incremental. That means now from 11 it has increased to more. Okay, and again even more. Is also even more. Okay, here you see this in all the features in one page they have integrated. Now this is a good place to integrate it because it consumes a lot of space here. That's why they wanted some small specific module and make this. So this is called integration. Incremental integration. That means they keep on adding new things day by day, and you keep on testing. You need to test this. Is this web page working? Is this Google.com working? It's good. Okay, is it working? Not. So you have to keep on testing, and they keep on adding new products day by day. So that's called incremental integration testing. Okay, the continuous testing of the application as the new features, keep on adding. Okay. Okay. Any questions so far in integration and incremental integration? So it's a continuous testing. When a new application, a new functionality is being added, is called incremental testing. Okay, yeah, as usual, it has to be, it can be done either way. It's based on the project, done by the programmers or testers. Okay. Normally, I've seen many times the programmers doing it, but most of the programmers do is SIT, System Integration Testing. Okay. Let's go to the next one. System testing. Okay, so here now this is more specific to the system, okay, not to web application. So as I told you before, right, there are two things when you're testing. There are two things to remember. One is web application and the client application. See, this Amazon.com, Google.com are web applications. Okay, now client application is something which you install in your system and start testing. So that's called system testing. If you say the system testing, that means you're referring to specific client applications. Okay, so let's see here. Entire system is tested as per the requirements. So entire system. So for example, let's say if you are installing some application. Okay, you are installing some application. There's a lot of things happen when you install. Okay, DLL files gets updated. Okay, registry keys gets updated, and new files get added into your system. So all this. So here you want to test everything as per the requirements. So that's called system testing. Whatever, when you install some application, there a lot of things are happening, right? What you want to check. Okay, this is a little bit broad. Okay, it's a little bit broad statement, but thing is you have to depend on requirements. Okay, you cannot test system testing means you have to test whole system. No, you cannot test a whole system, but you have to test it based on the requirements. What does the requirement say and what you are testing it. That's more important. Okay, because let's say even if I take system, so these are so many apps, if you see here, right? So many apps are installed here, but I'm not going to test everything, right? I'll see what the requirement is, and based on, let's say my requirement says only to test Firefox, then I'll be testing only Firefox, not IE, right? So that's how you need to, okay, that's what it means by entire system, okay, based on the requirements. So let's go to the next one. End-to-end testing. So end-to-end testing is, we'll keep it simple as a QA perspective, because if you are going the ETL perspective, it's a lot more than that is there, because QA is included in the ETL. So when you say ETL testing, that means somebody is thinking that you already know QA. Okay, that because it's a basic part. Okay, so we'll keep it short as a QA perspective. Okay, end-to-end testing means from one end to other end. Okay, now what does that mean? That means right from smoke testing, sanity testing, functional testing, integration testing, all these are completed, then you say end-to-end testing is done. Okay, so that means it starts from smoke testing, okay, and end with performance testing. Or it's more than that. If you the regression testing, performance testing, you can also work on that. Okay, so based on the complete life cycle of QA, okay, so that means end-to-end testing is done. If you complete from one end to the other end, it's called end-to-end testing. So here, if you see this database, so they're touching even ETL perspective. So if it's in an ETL perspective, right? So because ETL is pretty long, so if you're if you're saying end-to-end testing in ETL perspective, then you have to do a lot of things. From ETL perspective, have you done source testing, staging testing, target testing? Then you also have, okay, jobs. You know, you have various jobs there. Okay, let's say artist is jobs. Then you have to also do that. You know, is the jobs testing is done. Okay, then database validations. Those database validations are done. And you know, as a QA, if there's a functional required of this, then also functional testing. So these are all, you know, ETL perspective is pretty broad, and this requires a lot of, you know, there's a lot of people who will be working on it. So, so we'll keep it simple as a QA perspective. From smoke testing to performance testing, is it done? Then it's called end-to-end testing is done. Okay, we'll just keep it simple as QA perspective. Yes, but yes, you can also do with the database, network communication, or interactive. So this includes also ETL. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Any questions so far? Okay. So let's go to the different another testings here. Then you have smoke testing. Okay, smoke testing is not here. It's not here in the slide, but okay. So it just you know, we'll talk about the smoke testing. Okay, smoke testing is, you want to see if this application is testable or not. Okay, let's say you want to proceed with functional testing, right? Somebody has developed an application, okay, and you want to test it. But to test it, you want to, you know, see before that, am I really testing a good application or bad application? If it's a bad application, I won't even you know, bother to go on a functional testing. It's not even required, because the application is so bad that, you know, you cannot move forward. Then it fails to smoke testing. So that's called smoke testing. Okay, I'll not even, you know, worry about talking about functional testing. If the application is so bad that it cannot be tested, then smoke testing gets failed. Okay, that means, so what you exactly do in smoke testing, you actually test random, you know, just random application. And, you know, even if you take a Google, okay, you just click on this. Okay, is this button working? That's good. Again, you know, these buttons are working. Okay, it's good. So that means I'm just looking randomly and saying that if the application is good, because if the application is so bad, you cannot move forward with functional testing. Okay, so yeah, before, you know, before like actually going to that one, so let's talk about this. Okay, um, now, okay, so there are actually three environments. Okay, there are three environments because you will be working on that one. Okay, so first environment is dev environment. That's called development environment. That means all the coding work all should be done in development, not any other environments. Okay, whatever the coding and whatever, you know, the code or applications or whatever they have to do, they have to do in dev environment, not any other environment. Okay. So the next is test environment, that is QA perspective, and QA will be doing in that one. Okay, they'll not be doing any coding here, they'll be only testing the applications. Okay, all the applications should be tested in QA environment, so that's called QA environment. And third is production environment. Production environment is what, you know, normal consumers or normal customers use. Okay, so let's say Google.com, now this is production environment. That means we are interacting with real-time database and all the production data on the production database. Okay, so that's called production environment. Okay, three types of environment: dev environment, QA environment, production environment. Okay, now whatever happens, you know, whatever the coding happens happens in the dev environment. Okay, so let's say you have open, let's say you have done smoke testing, right, and the application gets failed, and you request the developer saying that, hey, you know what, this application is failed and I cannot move forward for functional testing because this application has got failed inside smoke testing. Now the developer has to fix that issue, okay? Fix that issue in dev environment. Then there's something called builds, okay? Build is taken care by the middleware team, not developer tester, okay? Now what they do is they check the code. Now developer check the code in the dev environment. Now the build, let's say there are 3 builds per day or 4 builds, okay? One at 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., okay? Something like that. So whenever the developer checks the code, now the middleware team runs the process, and that code moves into test environment. Once it moves into after that build, that's what the build job is, right? To move that code, take that code from dev environment, put into the test environment. Okay, so that's the major job of a build side. Okay, so once they do it, now its application is ready. So they'll say, hey, you know what? I've completed this. The developer will say, I've fixed that issue, and then the code, the build should be anytime soon, and you can start testing. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, so that's the overall. You have to know the different environments. Okay, whenever you are trying to do your testing. Okay. Always we have to make sure we'll be doing it in test environment, but there are case scenarios based on the project where you have to also work in production or development environments. I personally don't like to do it because I see there's no point of doing testing in development. It's completely garbage. Okay, only dev guys can understand it. They don't really care because they are working on business perspective. But as a tester, I'll be working as a customer perspective. So I personally don't like to work on dev environment, but your test environment, I'll make sure there's no defects on it. So that because the thing is, all the code which is there in test environment moves to the production. So if there are any issues in test environment, that issue will be also there in the production. So make sure always we have to do in test environment. And we cannot do in production environment because if anything is got screwed up, if you put some data and some irrelevant data shows up, that's really not good. Okay, so you don't want to do in production environment. But there are scenarios we have to work with that. We work with the project manager or scrum master and see how we figure it out and do it. Okay, so that's it. Okay, let's move to the next one, sanity testing. Okay, sanity testing is to make sure the different version of the same application, different version. Okay, same application. You're testing that same application, the different version is called sanity testing. Okay. Because it's a different version. Okay, the reason of having a different version is, let's say you have opened some 5 to 6 defects, right? And management also thought that okay, these defects are really too many, and they want to fix the defects and also new functionalities and features. Now they come up with a different version. That means all those defects are fixed, and they also improve the features, improve the functionalities, and they released a new one. So that's called a new version. So that's the reason of having a new version. Okay, to test that new version is called sanity testing. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Regression testing. So regression testing. So let me ask you this question here. So what happens, right? Let's say, as a QA, you have done everything. Okay, you have tested your application. It took 1 week. 1 week you have tested all application and you have documented all your test cases and results, and all this is documented and you're done. You're about to sign off and okay. So you have completed your testing, your QA point of view, and you are done. So what happens, right? Developer sees some issues as a code, right? There's some issue in the code, and they miss something, and the developer corrected something, and he stopped at your desk. Okay, stopped at your desk and says, "Hey, you know what? There was some issue in the code, and I fixed that issue. Okay, can you start testing?" Okay, so that is the question from the developer. Okay, developer stopped at your desk and he said something that the code is, they had some issue with the code and they fixed the code, and he wants you to test it again. So can anyone tell me what's your answer will be? What your approach for this question? So the developer actually, found some issue, or maybe they're working on some issue and based on lead told them to do something, and they corrected some code. Okay, and that's good. But this time, one of the developers stopped at your desk, saying that, hey, you know what, there was issue in the code. That doesn't, really reflect on QA. So but can you test that application again? So anyone? What's the approach on this? How would you respond to that? Or not even that, they might even send you an email putting everyone in the CC. Okay, and how would you respond to that email?
That means we need to check the added functionality working properly or not.
Right. I mean, that's what the question, right? That is the question from the developer, that
They had fixed the bug.
no, it's not a bug. No, it's not a bug. But as a developer point of view, they have changed some code. Okay. And this fixed, some issues from developer point of view, not a testing point of view. Okay, so not from functionality. Okay, they have done some backend work or something, but because of that backend work, they want to make sure that front end is showing up good, or it might screw up everything. So that guy stopped at your desk and said, "Can you test it?" What is it?
I would say I will go according to the requirements provided me.
Okay. Okay.
And if he present the new requirements, I'll test accordingly.
Okay. Okay. Good. Anyone else? Okay, good. So here's the thing, now the problem is developers keep on changing it, right? I mean, they keep on changing it. They have no control. Some places, some companies are really good. Once it has been reached to test environment, they are not allowed to touch the code. They're really not allowed, and really, so they follow the strict rules. But most of places, they don't. So now what happens is, you have done your testing. Okay. So just because you change some code, it might screw up whole application. Okay, whole application might be screwed up and saying code not for error, and all those errors show up. Now, okay, we don't know, right? And we cannot do it because we did the code before it changed. Okay. So now what we can do is we can, first thing, as a new guy, or whoever is joining, I would approach to the lead. I'd say, hey, you know what? Let's talk to the lead. We'll just talk to the lead and figure it out. What way can we do with this? So that's a better approach whenever you get such kind of questions, because you're not taking orders from developer. Just because developer stop at a desk and say do this, you cannot do this. You're taking orders from your boss, not with the developers. You have to remember that. Okay, just because some random guy has stopped you and sent an email saying that test this, no, you cannot do that. You have to get approval from your, at least lead. You cannot as boss, will not just go with the boss. we don't want to talk too much with the boss, we'll talk with the lead, because lead are friendly, they will help you out. Okay, so if you you got an email, you test it, you have changes, just you have to add CC your lead, and if possible to your boss, saying that, you know what, we have completed this testing now. We don't know, just because they change the code, whole application might get crashed, we don't know, because their testing is done. In 2 weeks it's going into production, and we cannot do this testing because we have limit on resources. We don't have resources, we don't have time, we don't have anything else to do. Okay, so we have other work to do, right? We have like so many other projects in pipeline. So this is what you want to say. Okay, this is what you have to do. So first thing is better approach. If you don't know, you have to check with the lead, because just because some developer is saying you cannot just do it right away, it's not a good idea. Okay, because you are not taking orders from lead. I'm sorry, not developer, you know. So another approach is, if your lead will be saying that, why don't we approach to regression testing? Okay, if there are any issues or anything else, which is left, we can fix it in regression testing. So that is one of the reasons why we have regression testing. Okay, the developers keep on changing, they keep on adding, and our testing is done. We cannot do anything else. If there is a bug or if there's a major crash, we cannot do anything because we have done our job. So we have to move forward with regression testing. Let's say if there is any bugs which are caught in the regression testing. Now what this regression testing does is, they have a tool. There's an automated tool just like QTP, load runner. This load runner is non-functional, but there's the automation tool, Selenium. Okay, so whatever the bugs, if because of that code, if there's a new bug introduced, then we can see it's in regression testing. Okay, so that's the reason you have this. One of the reasons, regression testing. Okay, you cannot go completely automated at this time. First, you have to do manual. Manual is mandatory. Okay, without manual, you cannot move to automation. Once you done manual, then you have to move to automation. All your code, will be automated. Right? So this is another approach. So to start with, I would approach with the lead. Okay, but if you are an experienced guy, you want to put, if you send an email, you want to put CC or lead, CC or boss, and saying that, why don't we do this in regression testing? Because we have done our testing and we don't have that much time, we don't have that much resources, and we have to move into other, we have other projects in the pipeline, and we cannot get stuck with this. Okay, because we have completed our testing. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Any more questions? So we'll stop here. Oh, it's already time. I'm already taking 3 minutes. And tomorrow we'll continue this, okay, remaining, and we'll start with testing tomorrow, okay, functional testing, and see how we can open defects. And I'll be giving you homework too from tomorrow. Today I'll send this slide, and also there is a book. Now, if you want to refer, I'll send this email. You don't have to read this or something. Just you can have it in your free time. Okay, whenever you have free time, you can just refer this just to get an idea. Okay, what is this testing is about? Maybe they have covered a lot more than testing, but you can just refer it how what's the approach. So normally it's approach, how you test it and what you do. Okay, so you can have it sent to email. So by today, and people who don't get emails, send me an email by 4 p.m. So 4 p.m. is my cutoff. So after 4 p.m. I'm not sending anything. Okay, if you don't get emails, so I only have, let's see here, only have 3 people already. I think there are both 2 people, right? I only have 3 people, so you have to send 2 people. 2 guys have to send it. Okay, send me an email to manu@itamerica.com, and I'll send you recordings as well as the homework. Okay, any more questions? So if no questions, can we close this class for today?
Can I have your email one more time, please?
Sure. My email ID is manu@itamerica.com. Let me bring it. Okay. If you don't get by 2 p.m., the max 2 p.m., right? I mean, I'll just upload it and send you. By 2 p.m., if you don't get it, make sure you send your email ID so that I'll send you the homeworks and as well as recordings. You can record, you can view the recordings.
So you'll send the recordings in the email, right?
Right. I'll send you to email.
Okay.
I actually have the YouTube, YouTube just, you can just follow to the YouTube and you can go it. And if you want, you can download. So that's what I recommend everyone. You have to download it if you're, if you think it's whenever it's going to off, you don't know, right? So better to keep, um, in application handy. I mean, recordings handy, so that if you're not able to access YouTube or something, you'll always have a chance to look into offline too. So, any more questions?
So far, so good.
Okay, good. So can we close this class for today?
Yep.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.